This video, the second part of the Dasha series, will show you what you can actually do to control a Dasha listing right on the screen without going back to the dialog. As in many other items in Shri Jyoti Star 7, you find on the right, top right of the Dasha box, some what I call switches. So these things are very useful and let us manipulate the listing by just clicking on them. For example, here on the far right it says Lev. So this refers to the number of levels that you're watching in the Dashas. And if there are brackets either side of the switch, it means by clicking on that left or right hand side of the switch, you'll get either more levels or less levels. For example, if I click here on the right, then I'll get 3 levels or 4 levels or 5 levels. And clicking on the other side, we can reduce it all the way down to 1 if we wish. The one next to that is for date. So this moves us forwards or backwards in time. The speed with which you move depends on the number of levels. So if you want to move fast, you can reduce the number of levels and then you'll jump back or forward quickly. But faster ways of getting to two key points in the lifetime are provided by these two other switches. The 0 means age 0 or birth. And the NW is short for now, which brings to the current time. So these two switches are very convenient. There's two other things you can do, apart from scrolling the Dashas using your mouse wheel or trackpad. If you move on with 2 fingers on the trackpad, in most laptops or trackpad editions for desktops, it'll cause a scrolling. Or if you have a mouse with a wheel, you can scroll up and down with that. Apart from that, there are 2 other things you can do, which are controlled by these 2 columns here. If you click on the first column, that will become the beginning Dasha. So this is also extremely useful. For example, suppose you're working and we want to go to the beginning of the K2 Dasha. We just click here and then we can zoom to see the detail of the K2 Dasha. So it helps us get around quickly. The second column is something quite different, which is that it automatically generates a chart for the date and time at which that particular Dasha period began. Now in the text like Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, they refer quite often to this, what they call Dasha Pravesh, or beginning chart of a Dasha, and it is taught that according to the planetary positions at the beginning, so the Dasha works out. If your Jupiter Dasha starts with Jupiter exalted, it's going to be really quite spectacular compared with Jupiter happen to be debilitated. So whatever the Jupiter position is in your chart, if you don't take a note of the planetary positions at the beginning of the Dasha, you may misinterpret the likely course of events during that Dasha. So for example, let us go back to the 1 level and we click here for the Saturn Dasha. Let's make it 2 levels. And we'll click here for Saturn Mercury just to illustrate what's going on. It's quite possible that you click there by mistake. So to protect against that, it'll ask you if this is what you really wanted to do. And then you also get a confirmation that you've got what you want. So we say yes, we want a Dasha Pravesh chart. And now we see it appearing here. It says Saturn Mercury for Prince William. And this, since this is the native 2, as illustrated or mentioned at the top of the whole window, then this chart here will show the starting planetary positions for that dasha sub-period. So this would be the native situation, and here is the sub-period starting positions. So then we can compare the two charts and see, are things going to go better than we would have otherwise expected, or perhaps not so well. So this is how you can get a lot of important things just by working directly on the screen. I should mention that these first two columns are active on the leftmost column of dashas. So if you have multiple columns of dashas, you have to work with the leftmost for these two particular functions. Enjoy.